Are you ready? You think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Bring the world down!
Do not adjust your screen. Welcome into the most electrifying hour here, 21/6 the net. This is Lemme. Tell you something, brother. Of course, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Tom's Productions. If you think it, he can ink it on just about anything you have. Tom'sProductions.com, 630-776-9492. But of course, the reigning tag team champions in the house, 216. And again, do not adjust your screen because Tom does not have any hair.
Oh, our team.
It's been years since we've seen
2 years since a haircut.
Man alive. And of course, Alex, who we got here?
This is my wife, Megan.
Oh, here, let's do that. Right on. A lot of stuff happening. We got the Bloodline. We got the Rhodes less traveled. And I watched a great 30 for 30, the Ric Flair 30 for 30.
I haven't watched. It's queued up for me. I haven't watched it.
Bro, it's good.
Is it?
It's good. Yeah. I mean, get a beard. I mean, it's a good one. Yeah. Have you seen that, Tom?
I don't know if I've seen a 30 for 30 yet.
Oh yeah. That's good. It's good. A lot
I saw his documentary on, was it Peacock or something?
Yeah, a lot of stuff I didn't know about our good friend Ric Flair. I was like, oh.
A lot of the things that he did outside the ring is kind of
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and just like his body transformation when he first started after the plane wreck.
Yeah. About 300 plus pounds and then dropped down to
It looked like half the man.
Yeah, hey, literally.
Did you?
There we go.
Oh, you got that one queued up.
There we go. Nice. So what do we got to talk about here?
Well, should we just go number one right now with SmackDown? The Rock joined the Bloodline.
Did he?
Well, they're saying he joined the Bloodline.
Oh, okay. So
they're
Body
implying.
language speaks different.
And they're big on that right now.
Body language was definitely big. I think I rewatched it again today just to kind of recap because there was things that I saw that I thought I saw when I watched it live, and then things that I read that I kind of went back and looked at. And definitely after talking with you yesterday, there's definitely like when he made certain comments about like, you know, Cody, you went there, you lost. Like he turned from this to looking right at Roman, like you lost and you're gonna come out. I'm gonna do everything in my power for you to come out and be a loser. Like you're staring right at Roman. And then of course the picture at the end, everyone's sticking up the one finger and you stick up a big old L.
Yeah, I was like, is he finger pistoling? Is that an L?
It was like an L, yeah, for sure.
And to me, that's the only way how it's going to make sense. To correct their storyline that's been going on right now, because like the last 2 weeks just seems like it's been jumbled with all the injuries and having to change the card. The whole allegations with
off
men.
The seat of their pants trying to make something work. So like I feel like that would be the only way that you would come back from that is to. And
that's why I said before, like before you guys got here talking to Ken, like they should just have Gunther win the Royal Rumble, and you wouldn't have to have that mess.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have the mess that you're in now, where like you could have just done Roman versus The Rock at WrestleMania. People would have been fine.
I will say the one thing I took away from it, and we talked about some podcasts in the past, is like that old, like the heel but also with him, like he just takes it to another level. When he talks about like a city, like when he brought up Michael Jordan and like the Utah Jazz championship, it was definitely a nod to the 90s. And of course the $500 shirt ripped to a vest now. And, definitely looks like he's more in ring shape now though. So,
compare like when he first came back and like he was like out of breath and all that.
Yeah, he's probably been bouncing off the ropes a little bit.
Yeah, came back.
He's such a perfectionist, right? A master that he probably was like, oh my God, am I way out of ring shape? And he probably getting up at 3 a.m, running off ropes.
He's definitely probably got
20 pounds of pancakes.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they were going to pick anybody to be the heel, he was probably the way to go. I mean, because how many times is he? I don't know, because I hated him as a kid.
No,
he's played it well.
I mean, he's one of the best heels of all time, and I don't want heel Rock now. I wanted it later.
Right.
I don't want it right now. You're excited he first came back on day one, anticipating that match against Roman. And then you got the Cody crybabies whining online, going, oh, we want Cody. And then he was funny with this little ad-libs on Pat McAfee show and on SmackDown about that stuff. Is it Utah that wanted that too? So
that's what I'm saying. Like, that was just the old Rock that, like, there's not been a person on the mic since the Rock that does that. I mean, Chris Jericho would do it occasionally. He would kind of, take shots at the fans and like kind of take on the heat for the heel, but he just does it so well and naturally. But I do like though the part about Pat McAfee's show, like when he makes the comments about, for every 10 McNuggets, it's one tweet. And then like when Cody's like, okay, well, they kind of had fun. We're like, well, what am I supposed to do with these nuggets? Yeah, you were there. But the best was I went back and I watched someone posted it on TikTok where it was The Rock and Pat McAfee was like stitched on top and then Cody was below. And it was just like Cody was tilting his head like this as The Rock was talking. And he goes, well, Pat, what am I supposed to do with these nuggets? So, I mean, like, there's a lot of fans that are having fun with it. And I mean, it's definitely making the show, more.
It's more the realism now.
More the realism, but also, like we talked about before, I kind of want to see what's going to happen now week to week. And that's kind of what's been missing. It's not as played right now.
Yeah.
I feel like they're forcing too much to accomplish little.
Right. And that's where it's like you had your big money draw, like Rock said on SmackDown. You could have just had him and Reigns. You guys been craving this for how many years, and now you don't want it, and you make us change it, kind of thing. And that's part of it where it's, I don't know if that's just like the Endeavor decision, because before, if Vince was still there, he'd be like, nope, this is what we're doing, and we're going to bury this guy because that's just what we do until whatnot. And they're trying to change it to where it was like the whole Daniel Bryan situation from WrestleMania 30, where fans were upset because he got knocked out of Royal Rumble right away. So they learned like not to put like LA Knight in this year's Royal Rumble because he was hot. So you wouldn't get that fan support in there. But
however, here's what I'm throwing at you. Cody wins it, takes care of The Rock. The Rock does not turn heel. Cody whoops up on everybody, walks away the champion. Does that create a better storyline and a better champion than Rock having to help him out? So Rock stays in the bloodline, tries to interfere, but Cody puts a smackdown on him and then beats Roman altogether.
So I think that kind of the trailer for WrestleMania came out last week, I think, and they really are pushing this kind of like angle of like Cody and Seth versus the
where
bloodline.
does Seth come into that?
Now,
he seems like he is.
It's like the Civil War kind of thing.
What I could see
Marvel
happening is I could see them doing a lot of build up where I wouldn't be shocked, and I think it would be the first time ever that WrestleMania could be. I would love to see them fight now in the Hell in a Cell. Like, just for it to go get that brutal and where they constantly have interference and where they're just like, hey, you know what? We want to know. Cody versus Roman. We're going to put you in a Hell in a Cell where no one can interfere. And again, you could always have people underneath the ring. We could play that game. But, like, that way you prevent the interference, or you also then have The Rock come down because he said it. I'm on the board. I'm going to make it your life a living hell. And he comes down there with the bolt cutters and gets in there, puts a new lock on there. They've run that angle before. I could see a lot, but I would love to see that. I would love to see a Hell in the Cell paper, WrestleMania main event and let them just beat the living crap out of
You know, what I could see now them doing too is, okay, you got Seth there saying that he's going to be the Shield and Cody's corner. I could see Sami Zayn coming there. I could see Kevin Owens getting involved somehow because like they're not really involved in much storylines right now.
So
They screwed them up. And then Drew McIntyre being that key piece of, is he going to help Cody because he's so pissed off at the Bloodline? So you have like, so you have the new guys versus the old guys kind of way. It's like, we're sick and tired of how you guys are running things. Yeah. It's our turn. We've been screwed by guys numerous times. Cody's our new face of the company. We gotta.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of angles that they can take from this, and I mean, as we've known, I mean, they definitely listen to this podcast because they like Tom's.
They steal my ideas.
They steal your ideas for sure. But
there are one viewer right now.
There are one viewer right now. All right.
It used to be two until Megan's here now.
It used to be three. So I was saying that Megan's here. I mean, hey.
And maybe my mother. I don't know. She hasn't chimed in.
Right. But the one thing like with Drew, like I wish they would just come out and confirm nor deny the reports that he has signed a new contract. Because if he did, you can figure out where a storyline he can play into this. But if his contract is up, I mean, what is that going to do? I mean, are you really?
So a lot of times what happens is in their contracts, they'll say like they have to have a championship reign. So a lot of times they'll put them on right at the very end to try to use that as leverage for negotiations. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Like Brett, they just took the title away from him. The manager will be nameless.
Scorekeep. What time are we into this when he brought the Brett reference first one?
12 minutes.
There we go. Hey,
12 minutes.
Hey,
getting better, man.
I'm just going to say his name right when we start the show. We're going to just use his theme music from now on.
No, I agree. Or you get to like we talked about where they got hurt, and then that time kind of adds on to the back end of the contract, and so that's accurate as well. But yeah, it's just interesting because they are really kind of shoehorning him into a lot right now. And does he fit all of the things? I would say it's 50-50.
So a lot of times, what also happens too is if there's an injury in their contract, it gets delayed. It's like his contract's originally supposed to be up end of April, I think it was, but I forget how long he was gone with the one injury. So it could be like another 2 months on his deal. So it'll be advertised for that.
Because there was one advertisement that got leaked that he was like being advertised for May. And again, I mean, advertisements can change too, but people do buy tickets for those events. So.
And was it Seth still hasn't signed yet either? Becky hasn't signed yet either. So, I mean, I could see with them too. It's like, okay, we want to see what happens at WrestleMania. Like, how do we finish this picture? Is this just going to be like another, we're just going to give the title back to Roman still, have him walk away? We're going to do the Rocks thing now. So it's their company that's no longer this company that we grew up in.
Yeah.
I mean, because Vince is no longer there. I'm going to say, like, if I'm Triple H, I'm nervous because of your connections with Vince and all those allegations going on. He knew. Yeah. Shawn Michaels knew.
Well, that was like I forgot if I asked you about this, but like there was a promo when Shane McMahon came back about I want to say 7 or 8 years ago now, with him, Stephanie, and Vince McMahon in the ring. And it was like the first time Shane came back, and he was referencing stuff, and there was like, now again, I could be reading way too much into this now, but where he was like, hey, our dad made a mistake. Mm-hmm. There's things you don't know. Like I signed something that said that I did not lose my place in line, but I was able to go do whatever I wanted to do. Yeah. And was he referencing this? Was this kind of been going on? Because it's been going on for a long time.
It's been going on since the 80s, at least.
So it's,
yeah. Well, because, Brett said, like, he apologized to one, I think it was a female referee or something, Rita. He's like, I don't see Vince doing that with her. Like, look at her kind of thing. Like, and he felt bad about that comment later, apologized to her, but it's like she had allegations against him that he was doing this stuff.
But yeah, I can definitely see Triple H being on the hot seat, or at least not visually, but also the line that he said on Monday night, I kind of stuck with me. People need to know their role, like pretty much kind of saying like, this is mine to run. Mm-hmm. And I mean, are we going to get a corporate Raw kind of structure? Are we going to get where you might see more TKO interference now?
I think we will. I mean, money talks. And it's like right now, yeah, Cody wins WrestleMania. You're going to get a quick merchandise sale boost. Hopefully they do the Winged Eagle title, redesign of that, bring that one back. Have the new generation, because that's where I see what Triple H wants to do is like, this era is done. This is now mine, but not knowing what's going to go on with these allegations and lawsuits. And I mean, it's going to be a very messy year.
Triple H was, in charge of NXT for so long. Doesn't he want the young talent to know?
Well, yeah, and he'll do a better job with that young talent. But that's again, with everything that's going on right now, TKO may want to distance themselves with anyone related to McMahon. Like the way Benoit's kid, he can't wrestle. No one's going to take him because what his dad did.
Finley's kid.
So
wrestled too, didn't he? Debuted on NXT.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely can see, but again, there's so many people that are like, this allegations can touch me because NXT, you want to talk about NXT, I mean, you have Shawn Michaels out there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot there too that, there's a lot of things in the past that Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon were more than just this. And you had Triple H and laying on top of each other. I mean,
lots of three ways in these allegations.
But
and butt plugs for each wrestler's name too.
Yes. But it's just there's just so much where if TKO wants to in a sense clean house, you're gonna be pulling a lot away.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, so we'll see. I mean, I think these next 6 months, I think once WrestleMania is done and that season's over per se, I think you might see a completely different kind of regime. Would not be shocked.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then it's what's funny is I'll reference back to Young Rock's TV show. Mm-hmm. Where Vince always helped out his family. They were the small Polynesian company in Hawaii. And now all of a sudden it's they're in charge now with The Rock. He's part of the board. They were the small company that was used to one of the smaller promotions that never really competed against Vince. They were kind of partners with Vince, but this little small promotion that very few people ever really heard of is now actually in charge. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they bring his mom on. Ata.
Yeah.
Because she used to run that promotion. She's still alive.
Yeah. Wasn't she in one of the Fast and Furious movies? No.
The Fast and Furious 965.
No.
She's in the next one. So, yeah. I don't know. For me, because of everything that's going on this WrestleMania season, I'm just not excited for it.
I'm not excited for even Elimination Chamber. I was just talking to Megan when we were kind of watching the last qualifiers.
It's sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's sad.
It's 4 a.m. our time on Saturday.
Not even the time, just the lineup right now. Because even for the female division, you have what?
It's Becky versus Bianca versus Liv versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. And then one more person. It was supposed to be Jade Cargill, but they pulled her. Yeah. So I think on Raw tomorrow, they may have a match for that final spot.
We have just you're trying to push the non-popular. Well, she's popular, but you're trying to push everything together. And I just feel it's not even going to be worth watching.
Right. Because last year was in Montreal and the whole Sami Zayn rivalry there. I mean, that was awesome.
But there's no draw for anybody. Who do you go for? Especially the women's
It's Rhea versus Nia, probably one of the main events.
And again, that's gonna be. I don't really see that match being very long.
No,
just because it's Rita's home area,
right,
home region, and I just don't see it. They're gonna show that she can take care of Nia Jax quickly, and they're gonna. I think.
But can she?
I think she can, and I think Becky's.
They're going to make her look strong, so when she goes against Becky.
No offense, Nia Jax always attacks her when she's not looking.
I don't know if Becky's going to be the one that wins it. I was just about to say that. It's I could see them also burying Becky in elimination and letting Becky and Nia Jax kind of just keep feuding and in the mid card right now. Let them figure out that contract and do that. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked because it's Triple H, and WWE. I wouldn't be shocked if they push Becky, be like, hey, you want to sign Like I asked last podcast, like, what's the pitch now as a free agent? What's the, what's that draw? Why do I want to stay at WWE versus going to AEW versus going to Japan now?
And that's where it's a lot of times with the veterans, they now have the leverage because it'd be like, oh, I could go now to AEW where I don't have to travel as much. I'm making maybe the same amount of money, if not more. I could work with some of these younger girls, talent or whatever, to help them develop because like their dreams is go to WWE no matter what. Yeah. And once you get to WWE, then you have the star power, the marketing power. You could draw more money on independent circuits and all that stuff.
But you also have the TNA too. I mean, look at Naomi. I mean, she went there for a year, let the heat die down between the whole thing with her walking out with Sasha Banks and and then she came back and she was able to renegotiate. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that even happened. Like I said, she still had a light load because I mean, there was rumors that she was trying to have make a family. So there's just so many options now. Is it cut and dry? Where to me, the WWE is still that pinnacle now, especially with all these allegations that are out there.
I think it is just. I mean, it's like McDonald's. You're used to that brand. It may not be the best, but you're used to that brand and that product and what you're going to get.
Yeah, we'll see. We talked about it last week with the streaming rights going to. When'd you get yours, Tom?
Hi, Mom.
Mama Odell. But
maybe if you visit your one son more than the other son, it may help.
Ouch. I'm gonna lean this way a little bit.
Here comes a chair.
Mama's coming through the door in a moment. But no, like you hit on something where I actually just lost my train of thought there.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll just bring this up because what you're saying is it the pinnacle? Is it AEW ratings grew pretty good this past week? So my question is, are wrestling fans now looking for something? There you go. You never ever.
Oh, she sees my brother like 3 times a week.
Which one?
The pastor, yes.
That's
well,
really
once you can't count Sunday.
That's right there. Yeah. Never available. She said you're always in the gym or doing something, right? So you're watching AEW in the past week. Their ratings climb, 0.3. That's pretty good. Almost 850,000 views between the 18 to 49 age bracket, which tells me that people are hungry for something else, and I think they're getting bored with everything. So are they looking for something?
Well, WWE gets predictable.
But that's as a fan and somebody who grew up, like, what is with keeping the titles and not doing anything with them? Like, you're just walking around with it. And I mean, okay, you can walk around with the belt around your waist. That's great.
One belt that won't be just walking around is the tag team belts. I mean, if we want a 216 tag team belts, we'll defend.
But I mean, as a fan of when I was younger, like at least have a match regularly where you're defending it, walking around with it.
Bring back the 30-day rule where you have to defend it within 30 days or you vacate it.
But that's the same thing. I feel like how long has Money in the Bank been just chilling? Like, I mean,
so it's like the NBA stars. How come they can't play 82 games now? Right? Why can't a champion defend his belt or her belt once a month?
I mean, you should be able to because you earned it. You need to also earn your keep with it. So
this made me think of you, Tom. So Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, this was taken a while ago. 1,162 days, 54 title defenses. We were talking about this. Hulk Hogan, 1,474 days, 468 title defenses.
Yeah. Amen.
Now,
amen, brother.
With that being said, is Roman's reign as tribal chief, as champion, is there any meat to it?
No.
It's like Barry Bonds. I'll be an asterisk by it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the steroid era.
But I used to love Roman Reigns. Like, we used to battle about it because he would give me crap about being a Roman Reigns fan. But now that he's had the belt for so long, I'm like, all right, dude, like, I'm over it because I'm so bored. You come out and you can run your mouth, but you're not backing it up. Like,
Well, it was
He
like,
doesn't even run his mouth.
No.
Paul does for him.
but that was like the Kevin Owens feud, and like it was a last man standing match, and like you had him. The match was over, but yeah, Paul Heyman was able to do something to where like he got an extra couple seconds on the count, and it was just like, all right, okay, this is how we're really gonna play this game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But as I was gonna say, I should remember my thought is what's going to happen with them now going to Netflix. Do you think AEW is going to keep gaining ratings? And now
I think that's
Monday.
Yeah. I think that's great for AEW. Like
Yeah.
in TNT right now with their negotiation, right? They'll probably go back with TNT and TBS, and I think they'll move to Monday night. I mean, that would be their prime time to go attack that market, even if it Raw's on Netflix Live.
Yeah.
I
But that's what I
mean,
was saying is like your point is like, okay, this is what you're used to, but you're used to something being on at Monday.
right.
So like, okay, if it's not WWE and it's
Right.
AEW, okay, now I got to move my channel up 200 channels or whatever it is. Like I still want to watch my wrestling on Monday. So now I'm going to watch AEW. So now are you going to see a dip?
Well, it's only 2 channels down on Comcast.
Oh,
but you don't
Depends
want
on
it to
what
be,
Friday.
maybe I'm the only fan.
Right.
I don't want it to be predictable. Like, I want to be like, oh, crap, that just happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be like, oh, they really just did that. I don't
Right.
like, literally, we'll sit there and be like, oh, she's going to do this or he's going to do that.
Right.
And then somebody's going to come in and interfere and then it's over.
You guys won the tag team belts by missing one. And that was because you picked Rock.
I picked The Rock to show up at number 30 and win.
Right?
I picked them.
And you-
Right? So that's predictable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
19 out of 20.
I'm not a time traveler, I swear.
But I mean, growing up as a kid, that was the best. The Attitude Era was the best part of wrestling because there was so much random stuff that happened. Like
Title changes were
it kills
constant.
me when these boys, when we, they're like, "Oh, why does anybody watch this? This is terrible." And I'm like, "But you don't understand. Like, it was nostalgia when we were growing
Right.
up because there wasn't."
There was a time on Friday night where I was watching AEW was popped up after the basketball game, and a couple of the boys on the team were like, why does Tom and Alex watch this? And they're 100%, oh, look, they're not even hitting each other. Like, but you should understand, like, when you get hit through a table or you do catch an elbow, like, it's going to hurt.
Right.
It's choreographed.
It's choreographed. But again, as Tom always says, so is Marvel movies, so are soap operas.
And people still get hurt.
Right.
Yeah. And there's no GCI screen or whatever.
No. CGI, yeah.
Whatever.
And it's one take.
It's
one take live.
and look what happened with Matt Hardy.
Jeff
Or
Hardy.
Jeff Hardy, right? I mean, we were just talking about that in the green room. I was like, wait, what happened? And that ain't fake. Folks.
Right.
No. And honestly, the angle, not to jump on the AEW right now, but like the angle that they're taking with the Hardy Boys right now, where like they're wrestling some of these like younger talents, and like after every match, it's a big FU. Like, I mean, they're literally, Jeff Hardy's flicking them off, and they're kind of going with that whole angry angle. But yeah, that was a botch that happened, and I was really shocked that they let him continue that match because he even said he's like, I didn't
he was
know
messed up.
He was concussed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So for fans that are listening, what happened? Sammy Guevara was on the top rope, did a flip, landed on Jeff Hardy's knees when he raised his knees up, and he was supposed to be straight, but instead his body angled and his left knee hit Jeff right in the head when he landed.
Yeah, so that was definitely kind of, and that happens. I mean, like there's so many events that happen that even though it's choreographed, you can't predict. I mean, like how someone bounces off the top rope, like at the whole at the last pay-per-view with the AJ Styles going off the top rope for the elbow. He admitted that the rope slipped. He miscalculated. That's why he didn't get the spring that he needed, and like they covered it up, but it happens.
Yeah.
But I mean, me as a kid and me now, I wouldn't want to watch wrestling now either. If you know what I mean. If I have what I grew up with compared to now, like I don't blame the kids for not being interested because it's.
Well, and that's like
heroes look like the man who shall not be named.
Right.
Looks like a plumber.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, well, we grew up, here's the characters right here. These toy action figures, those were your characters. They all had a gimmick.
Yeah.
And now everyone,
And they were all
hey,
My bad.
and now everyone now wants to be Stone Cold. I'm Steve Austin. I want that. I want to be that character. That's going to be my shtick. And it's like, if you have everyone that way and now everyone's kicking out of a finisher, no one's special. It's like the movie Incredibles. If you make everyone super and special, no one's special.
Well, that's like, I mean, to me, I wish a finisher would go back to being exactly that. I wish it was a finisher.
Right.
I mean, yes, I did just flick Brock Lesnar away. So I didn't want to get the
But how can you call it a finisher if it's not a finisher?
Oh, for Brock Lesnar. It's just sad because there's just so many where it's just like
something. Brock's daughter looks
she
Brock.
looks just like him, but she's going a completely different avenue. Like I was shocked she didn't go into wrestling because
she does not make a good looking man.
No.
or vice versa. He doesn't.
I love you, Brock. I'm not saying anything.
Do not come after me, please.
Hey, she can throw the shot put.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And when she broke her own record.
Yeah, I know.
So, but yeah, wrestling this week by week right now is very predictable. Especially if you're just watching one promotion. Like with Tom watching multiple promotions, I don't have the time to watch all of them. I get my feedback from AEW from Tom, or kind of highlights because I'm their Facebook page. But watching WWE is getting very predictable, and
Tom is sitting there watching a lot of the shows, waiting for Janine to come over.
No, never. She's not allowed to come over on wrestling night, which is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
That's like, it's nice that we recorded on purpose because then we don't have to watch it live because the
commercials.
like, fast forward, we don't want to watch this. This is terrible. Like, let's get through that. Like,
but it's also like, I mean, before you even get to the first match, you're at 25, 30 minutes on average now. It's after the first promo.
Yeah, first promo is always like 15, 20 minutes.
It's
and
not worse than a soap opera.
But does, because we all love the Attitude Era, right? And that's done. You're never going to bring that back for a long, long time. Why do we need to have good mic skills? I think that's where they lose me is they try to get out there people without good mic skills. And I'm like, this is horrible.
It's a soap opera.
Yeah,
like, a wannabe. Like
it's
it's
horrible. But you could do it without all the mic work. You got good enough writers. You could do it in the ring, and you know.
And that's been their issue in the past is they were going through writers left and right. There was no consistency.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that blew my mind was we were watching and one of the matches and somebody like interfered, but they played the music when they came out. Like they didn't do that growing up. Somebody just popped out of the crowd.
That's
and was like.
Yeah.
Like, why are we playing
like
music? It's a dead giveaway.
Just like, popped over the barricade and was a fan, and it's Booker, WCW champion Booker T.
And like now they're playing the music and they're
Jim
running down the ramp.
Sat in the front row.
Again, I mean, my highlight so far is accurate for 2024 is R-Truth. I mean, he's been every week he's on. He's one of my top draws to watch. I watch some of the shows just to see what he's going to do, and it's not nothing performance-wise. It's just
entertainment. It's the comedy effect, and
he is random. Like you never know what he's
going to even say.
Yeah,
what's going on? I mean, that's what they've always had. They had Santino for years. Then last year was Sami Zayn with the Bloodline, and now it's R-Truth's turn. And they need that comedic character. And who's next? I don't know.
Yeah, the talking definitely needs to just
and that's where like AEW, it's better because it's more wrestling, less talking. So if you like wrestling, it may not have a storyline to it.
Well, at least they're wrestling. But
they're wrestling, and for the most part, you're seeing some younger talent that you may not have witnessed before from even other promotions will come on there. You'll be like, oh, like Alpha Kino. Like, I never heard of him before. And like, I mean, he's from AAA or whatever, Lucha Libre, and like, he's entertaining. Like, his Matt, it's like a hybrid of Rey Mysterio.
But that's like with the Lucha, the AAA, like, I mean, there's so many, like, again, and Lucha is definitely a different style of wrestling versus like, so like everyone's gonna go back to Rey Mysterio because that's what everyone mainstream knows as Lucha.
Right.
But I mean, like Lucha Dragons and all them, like there were so many, like they all look similar. They all have high flying abilities. But that's why I said before, like, I want to bring back the middle heavyweights. I want to bring
the cruiserweights,
and like because that's where you saw all those entertaining matches.
Right.
You saw, or even like
that's what made WCW.
Yeah, also with like the hardcore matches, like they've had a couple here and there. I know people want to get away from the blood, but it's just like those were the matches that were just unpredictable.
Well, and that's what I think AEW's problem is lately is that's what they've been doing. It's like every week or once a month seems like there's another Texas death match. Yeah. It's like you just did this 2 weeks ago, and now you're doing it again, or it's repeating the same thing. Like, oh, we got big ratings on it this week. Let's do it again. And it's like
See,
less
that's
is
why
more.
I'm biased because I'm not a big fan of like the whole like Logan Paul thing. I never liked him
Yeah.
at all, and so when he was on wrestling, I'm like, why?
Mm.
And I get he probably came on and they looked at the ratings and they're like, all right, let's push him a little bit more. But I don't know.
And to me, like, I don't know, it's similar to with you. It's like, okay, they're going to bring the celebrity in. It's going to be like another Bad Bunny where you can't really do much. Do some stuff that maybe impress you, but like Logan, Logan impressed me. Like, yeah, especially his match with Ray where he saved Ray. It's like, okay, that's when the day he became a professional wrestler.
I mean, he's definitely, I would put him in the professional. He's not, like you're saying, the Bad Bunny.
Right.
I mean, again, Bad Bunny he entertained me. He definitely shocked me with his performances. He just doesn't like the size of him.
Right.
For the moves that he was able to achieve was shocking. But it's like when they brought like Shaq.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we're going to have Shaq versus Big Show, which they still have never done.
Right.
But like they hinted at that, like, okay.
Well, they had Snooki.
Yeah, I kind of want to see that, But now with the Logan Paul, he's earned some stuff. I just feel like they're trying really hard to make him a heel and like really hard to make him where he's not liked and everyone wants to hate him. But I mean, it's just like, he's just an entitled person.
Well, and the thing with him too is like because of his skill set and how much better he was than actually wrestlers that have been there for years. Like he's way better than Dom.
Oh yeah.
And it's like his skill set, like out of how many matches that he's had, less than like a handful of matches. Like he looks like he's been doing it for years.
At least the first one, I think I just read the report that the first one with like 9 pay-per-view matches, like.
Yeah, but Dom is just a mouthpiece.
Hmm.
I'm over it. Like,
see, I mean, Dom won me over last year at WrestleMania when he came out with the security guards, the police, and handcuffs and all that stuff. Like, I was dying laughing. Like, he won me over with that. Mommy. He needs his mommy.
I need a lot more than that. I don't know.
But it's interesting. I wish. Again, I want to see what they do with the Judgment Day. I would love to see them break the Judgment Day. I don't know why we're going with all these religious factions. It's kind of like a very weird angle.
Like wrestling and religion doesn't.
Easter's coming.
Yeah. I mean, I get
well, it did in the 80s. You had to say your prayers, take your vitamins.
I mean, I don't know.
They had a Goblin Gooker.
We just talked about Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
I mean, a legit bunny.
Oh,
They had a bunny with Adam Rose.
yeah, they did.
So to mix things up, they should just get more midgets.
Yeah, they got to bring back the midgets.
That's it.
Bring back those micro wrestlers.
Yeah, they should just buy out the Micro Wrestling Federation or whatever it's called.
Incorporate them and put them. They get like a 15-minute match time, and
you don't need half the amount of time.
I think it'd be great watching like Rock press one of the little boogers over his
well, you get instead of the Rock, it'll be the Pebble.
That's it. That's funny.
What? She's laughing.
That doesn't take much time.
What? Yeah, so like Elimination Chamber, here's our match card. So we got the men's elimination where it's Drew, Randy, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul. I think Drew wins that one.
I mean,
because they're setting up Drew versus Seth.
Yeah, I could see Drew. Again, let's just air this out. So what we talked about last time was that the rejects have to go with the Elimination Chamber to figure out who we are going.
Yes,
against.
yes.
Keep in mind, they switched up partners.
They switched up teams, whatever. I like
got,
one of their Saturday night, I don't know, weird shows. They say like they're breaking up their team.
SG3 going together.
Okay.
And Tony the Kid and Zach going together.
So they're going to compete at Elimination Chamber to
have the right to face us at WrestleMania.
So I definitely see Drew McIntyre being the winner of that to set up the Seth feud. I mean, I could see it being entertaining because I don't see you doing anything with Lashley.
No.
I just see him just being there just to be a big guy.
They'll probably have some feud with whatever that Apocalypse thing with Karrion Crosses. I forget what their faction is now.
Final Testament.
Oh, Final Testament, yeah.
Now, AP, Agents of Pain, man, they came back and they look good. I mean, those big guys, like I was talking to Megan, they bring me back to the Legion of Doom. And I mean, yeah, they definitely, not only just the shoulder pads, but
who do you put him against?
Yeah.
You go up against Usher because he was wearing shoulder pads too.
And roller skates.
You can let that burn, man.
Yeah.
The roller skate.
Average Joes.
And then the women's match, I think Becky wins that one.
Are you not going to pull for your wife on that?
I want her to, but I don't think she's going to
Yeah,
win.
just talking about going and fighting in the UFC.
Her and her husband, yeah.
Yeah, her and her husband, yeah. I saw that.
I think it's easier for wrestlers to go to UFC than it is for UFC to go to wrestling.
I would do some with that hair.
I think I'll kind of pause on that one. I think it's kind of a mixed bag because the man that shall not be nameless, not a good.
Well, no,
fighter.
but Brock,
Brock looked good. Okay, but Brock
Lashley.
But Brock is a wrestler.
Correct.
Right.
Brock was a
He was
wrestler
a-
before that.
Well, that's what. Yeah. So
Bobby Lashley, wrestler before that.
Yeah.
Hager, he was a wrestler before that. They did well. You're 100%.
yeah.
Ronda Rousey, coming from MMA to here, she did very well. So, I
At
mean,
times,
At times. But she.
her last run not so well.
The one that I would love to see, and this question was asked recently to a lot of pro wrestlers, is who you would love to see. I mean, we've been waiting for it to happen, but I would love to see Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
That's the one that I want to see. I just want to see all the smack that he talked about pro wrestling and him to actually step into the squared circle and
They ain't got enough money for him. He makes a god awful lot of money.
It's the same company paying him.
yeah. It's just a different
They ain't
check.
got enough money. That'll set a whole new precedent for those wrestlers.
That'll be next year's WrestleMania.
No,
The Rock versus McGregor.
I don't see it. I don't see it. Because he's a loose cannon too.
Yeah.
He'd throw real fists. He wouldn't.
That's what I mean.
Well, then you put him against Brock, and then you don't have to worry about
There was
it.
definitely a lot of times I thought that Brock blacked out and like was throwing some
Definitely
real punches. 'cause,
overstepped.
Oh,
like,
he did that. Yeah, if you thought you could give him a gift, he'll retaliate, and that's what he did to Braun Strowman. It was at the Royal Rumble. What's the other matches there? Rhea versus Nia. I think Rio
Yeah, I think Rhea takes it.
Judgment Day tag team against British Strong Style. I could care less about that one, but and then Grayson Waller is having his show with Cody and Seth. It's like I don't care.
Right.
And you know the Rock's gonna interfere on that one because
Do you think he's going to interfere? Do you think he's going to show up
Somebody
at
from the
4 a.m.
No, no,
in
no.
Australia?
Somebody
he will.
from the bloodline will.
he will?
It'd be solo.
The comment he made on Friday about I'm gonna use my power to make your life living. No, I don't think he'll show in person. I'll be shocked.
Live
if he
via
does.
satellite.
He'll be live via satellite in a boardroom, kind of pushing that boardroom mentality, I think is what's going to happen. But with Australia pushing and coming out publicly saying that they want The Rock there, I think TKO is going to do it just to kind of make it, again, to separate themselves more from Vince. I think they're going to do it. But I think he's going to come via satellite in a boardroom setting with Roman to the right of him and him at the head
At
of
a
the table,
table.
but not to point at that. Not to be like,
Mhm.
oh, here I am sitting at the head of the table, and Roman's going to be next to him, and Paul Heyman's going to be over here, and there's
Mhm.
going to be a clear divide. That's my prediction. Again, not a time shot.
I don't think he's,
No, I don't either.
especially all the crap that got talked before this event, like
No,
between the two. Like I don't think he's.
but I don't see a match that you just laid out that makes me
want to wake up at 4 a.m. and watch.
Yeah, it's going
Unless
to be
Mira's up at 3.
no
Feeding time.
feeding time. Yeah, I might sit there and fall my sleep, put me back to sleep. Yeah, I just don't see one. It's gonna be a Peacock special where I put it on maybe while I'm getting the kids ready for breakfast or something, and okay, that's going. Oh, okay, that's it. Because I don't know what you're gonna, especially in the women's match. Like, who do you have there that's gonna like draw? I mean, Becky Lynch, fine. She's gonna be the man. Liv Morgan just came back.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's a lot of people in that match that you could build a feud with Rita. But there's not one that's really gonna kind of pull it over for WrestleMania.
Yeah, this to me is just a crap premium live event.
It's a waste of time.
Exactly. Well, they're making it. It's going to be like the largest draw ever in Australia and Perth, whatever, for indoor attendance record, merchandise sales, blah blah
Yeah,
blah
they'll
blah
set the
blah.
record for sure. For there. But now, do you almost have what was it, Crown Jewel a couple years ago that like the Saudis were mad at the WWE card or whatever?
Yeah.
Like they like made it very complicated for the wrestlers to get out of there.
Yeah.
Like
Wasn't their first time there?
I
or-
was like
I think it was the first time there. Yeah.
It was like you had a bunch of them that say like we're never coming here again. Like I don't
Yeah.
care what my contract is. And
Yeah,
so like, and here's tomorrow night's card for Raw. You got Gunther versus Jey Uso for the Intercontinental title. Reason why it's on Raw, not at Perth, is because Gunther can't travel out of states until he gets his.
So what do you see happening there? What's your prediction?
I think Gunther still wins. Keeps it till WrestleMania.
Do you think it's a squash match? Do you think it's a quick match? Or do you think it's actually going to go the distance?
I think it'll be a good, probably 20-minute match, 25 minute.
See, I'm not a fan.
You know like Gunther?
No.
I can see the match going the distance, and I can see Jimmy interfering, setting Jay versus Jimmy up
for WrestleMania.
I could see that because you're not going to want Jimmy or Jay. Jimmy's not going to want Jay to get a singles title before him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what I see happening. I just don't know if it's going to happen early on.
Yeet.
No, they got to do it soon because they kind of set it up at the Royal Rumble and then they just like.
Yeah. No, I just mean like I don't know if he's going to interfere quickly, where it's like in the first couple minutes, or is he going to be like, oh,
Jay has him beat,
going to hit like a sweet the super kick and then
go up over frog splash or.
Hopefully they don't play his music when he comes running up. I hate that.
Or they do play the Bloodline's music and they play Solo's music and he comes out on top of the ramp and then Jimmy comes from the fans and knocks him out. They just had to do something to set that up. And that's just where, again,
I think it just blows my mind. Like, why would you, if you want an interference and a shock, why are you playing the music and these people are running? Like, where's the thrill in that? Like, no.
Well, but they tried it.
But
That wasn't planned at all.
But the other problem with that is there's so many now cameras that camera angles where like there were so many times with Drew McIntyre when he was going to join the Judgment Day. Like there was times where it was like you could tell there was something going on in the lower right hand corner because the way the wrestlers were falling out, but also they were looking this way. And then all of a sudden the camera pans and it's Drew and then he lays on the Claymore and it's
but
just
it's still
like,
not the music and then running down the middle
it's
of the
not
thing.
it's
You're
not
like,
the
oh,
music,
here it goes. Okay, cool. What's going to happen here?
Yeah,
like,
but there was times even with Stone Cold where you would hear the glass shatter and he would come running out on an ATV or something where like there was times that they did it back then. It was less
not as frequent as
correct,
now,
less as
though.
frequent.
I feel like every time there's an interference, like let's just.
That's just lazy booking.
They never did it.
Yeah.
Or hoping for it.
They didn't show up tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you take away from the draw of excitement when you're like, oh, here they come. What's going to happen? Interference? No way. Nope.
Then also on Raw tomorrow night is Cody versus Drew. Like whatever.
Again, you're not
But
gonna.
why?
It's like.
But why?
And I see the safe
All right.
bet here is going to be again, just like I said with Gunther's match, is the Bloodline's going to interfere and they're going to play that angle of we're taking out everyone that's associated with Cody. We're going to show a sign of authority because you're not going to let Drew get hurt before Elimination Chamber.
Or Rock's going to come out, not say anything, or go sit at the announcer's table.
Something.
Just to distract,
Sure.
to try to build that, right?
It's just, again, and I hope this doesn't happen because, again, we're predicting it a day before. Like, if it's that predictable, again, I mean, these titles
I haven't seen the writing.
The titles are going to stay with us pretty long then. So if it's becoming this predictable.
And the other match is Awesome Truth versus DIY. That's our Raw card for tomorrow night.
Truth versus?
Awesome Truth versus DIY.
Okay.
Awesome.
Or DX is our truth reversed to him. Which is kind of funny, the resemblance.
Yeah, when they said it, yeah.
It's like the midget version.
All right. Of course, this is, let me tell you something, brother. And great shout out to Tom's Productions. If you have a team, a school, a business, you have a logo you want put on something, if you can think it, he can ink it. Check him out at tomsproductions.com, 630-776-9492. Big orders, small orders, medium-sized orders, whatever kind of order you want. If you want your name etched on something, no tattoos. You're not a tattoo artist.
Technically, the laser can.
Technically, the laser can. Then,
That's not
folks,
to say we
but, you can think it. He'll ink it. Tom's Productions. Tom'sProductions.com.
Tom's 316. I just branded your assets.
Boom.
Bum. So, other news then, besides WWE, Dark Side of the Ring is returning for their 5th season, beginning March 5th on Vice, 10 episodes.
Who they got? Do you know?
So, yeah, I got the list here. I think I read that they're starting with Earthquake. John Tenta is going to be the first one. Chris Adams, I didn't do much research on him. I'm not sure on him. Sensational Sherry. Terry Gordy. Probably the biggest, I guess, most viewed one is going to be the Black Saturday one, where Vince bought out Georgia Championship Wrestling, just for the sole purpose so they could have a time slot on TBS for WWF at the time. They have time slot on TBS because Ted Turner turned them down. So I think that one's going to be probably their most viewed one.
It was awesome. It was literally in a studio about the size of this,
Mhm.
and Gordon just had a podium like at church. It's great. It was great.
We gotta bring that back. Just get public access channel.
No, I know.
We do on 216 and that.
They had bleachers that were 4 high or something like that. The ring right there was in somebody's garage.
All the relatives showing up.
It's like the show that was on Stars. I'm trying to blank on it, but it was like based on the wrestling, and it was like in Duffy, and it was like all like very same thing. Like it was in like an old factory, and a ring was like falling apart. I can't think of what the show was called.
Heel.
Yeah, and I mean it didn't do that well. I mean 3 seasons I think, but it was one of those where it's like it's old school style of wrestling and small town.
Let's see. The other episodes are Chris Colt. Don't know much about that one.
No.
Sandman from ECW. Harley Race. Buff Bagwell from WCW days. And then Brutus the Barber Beefcake, mainly with the ski boat accident right before WrestleMania 9.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about how his face got ripped off and why he was wearing a mask for WrestleMania.
Yeah. That was crazy.
I mean, a couple of those, I don't want to say probably 4 of them I would probably watch. But again, the Dark Side, I do love the narration of it.
Yeah.
I do love the storytelling.
It's put together well.
So it's very put together very well. So it would be something that I would watch. Again, like you're saying, learn probably a lot about these events and stuff like that. But
so I usually wait till it comes on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have like every episode on there. Usually, I want to say like a month or 2 after they're done with their season, and then just power watch it back to back to back. And I don't know if I'll ever do
30 for 30 with
Flair.
Nature Boy. Good. Very good. I'm a big Nature Boy fan though, because he came from Georgia Championship Wrestling. But yeah, the 4 Horsemen. I mean, you learn a lot. You're like, oh my god, he's crazy.
There was one thing another show that I think is coming back also is WWE's Hidden Treasures.
Yeah.
That was a show. The first season was more interesting to me because the idea was they're trying to buy back the merchandise and like the old
the apparel
and stuff like that.
Just thought that was at auction or stolen.
The first season was like there was a lot more stuff that they bought and like WWE now owns. The second season, which was the last one, there was a lot more like, oh well,
Loan.
I don't want to get rid of this. We're gonna loan it to you.
And I get it. People are attached to their wrestling stuff, but it's going for a good cause. It's not like you're selling it to some Joe Schmo and you don't know where it's going to end up.
Well,
in a museum where.
Yes, and I'd say if I had a piece of wrestling memorabilia, I'd be like, I'm not giving WWE anything until they actually have a place where it's displayed. Because like right now, everything's just in their warehouse.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this to you.
People that have hundreds of items, right? They're only looking for like certain niches that.
Well, they're looking for the niche. That's the issue. It's like,
I mean, with you being a Ric Flair fan, I mean, there's an episode on him where like it was like he lost
Road.
Butterfly Road,
right?
And like
some dude had it in his living room.
No, yeah,
it was like left in a hotel.
Left at it was left behind the lobby desk. and he never went back to look for it. Like,
and was that Goodwill or something?
Probably because he
Right.
That's because he was drunk.
he didn't know where it
He
was.
didn't know
where he was.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
but yeah, it's like those shows. I definitely love like the behind the curtain per se.
Mhm.
But then I'm also jaded because it's kind of ruined a lot for me.
Yeah.
You know, but like these shows, because it's like older wrestlers, older events, it's fine. But like social media, I've said it before, like it's just kind of ruined a lot of these angles and like the heels and stuff like that for me.
What ruined a lot of it for me was I was living just outside of Cedar Rapids, and the WCW was there, and it was when Raven. And, and who is he feuding with? He had the big feud.
There's Canyon.
Maybe it was him and Goldberg.
Goldberg.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so you live them on TV, and I went to the gym. The gym, the local gym I belong to, and it was just there after work, and they showed up and they were spotting each other, and I dropped my weights. I'm like, wow,
yeah,
what?
Hmm.
You guys hate each other,
Right? That can't happen. That's
right?
not
I wanted to
okay.
go hit them both.
Well, I think that was like back in the late '80s, where like Hacksaw was in the car. I don't know if it was Sheik or Nicola.
Raven and DDP.
Oh, DDP.
They were there spotting each other and joking around.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, because I think it was like
No.
Hacksaw and either like was it Koloff or Sheik. They were driving a car and got busted. And it was like in a newspaper, like WWF was just in a panic because of how can we have one of our top faces with the top heel in the same car kind of thing. So you got like some guys, they still like to keep kayfabe alive. So like Dom and Rey Mysterio wouldn't travel together anymore to try to keep that feud going on.
And that's a that's a generational thing. I mean, like I think just the respect for the industry that Ray has. I mean, but it's like, look at The Undertaker. I mean, The Undertaker's come out now with his one-man show. If you've ever seen any of those, like he's talked about it. He's like, I lived this persona for 30 years. Like I would go to the airport as The Undertaker.
Right.
So when and you'll see it on 30 for 30, but when Ric Flair had enough money, he bought a limousine because that's what he said. Limousine.
Right.
I think he drove it himself. I don't know. But he was like
limousine driving.
That was before his like second divorce.
right. Just crazy. So
on top of the hidden treasures, so A&E's doing the biography again. I believe it starts next week. Yeah. So their first one's going to be on Randy Orton. The week after is going to be Diamond Dallas Page. The week after that's going to be British Bulldog.
Oh, that's some good ones.
And then, well, and Kent's personal favorite, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
his personal story is fantastic.
No.
Right, amazing. But he's not a good champion.
No, I mean, it's one of those
He
things.
hasn't been for a long time.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And
I feel like since he came back from cancer, it's kind of just been.
Well, like when he first came back, it was good. And then now it's, ever since he was with the Bloodline angle, it's just like.
But like they pushed him really hard when he came back
Yeah.
from cancer. Like the whole angle of
I think
like,
everyone's-
possibly not being a heel, but like that weird transition and then didn't go anywhere with it. And then you gave him a title that he hasn't been defending. So it's great.
right.
It's all
Yeah,
great.
but that was the thing. Like everyone wanted him to be the heel. I think that was probably like the most wanted heel turn.
Right,
of
because
the
they were
decade.
trying to force him down your face as a top face, and fans don't want that. Like he did it with Cena, ram him down our throats. They were able to do the heel turn with Reigns, but it's like Cody's not going to be a heel.
No.
He wasn't in AEW. I don't see him doing it in WWE. He's going to be like
I don't
next
think
John
it's in his
Cena.
in his like persona. I don't think
No.
Cody was ever meant to be.
No, I mean he's the son of a plumber. I mean he's the son of a plumber, and he did the whole creepy angle with Stardust. And I mean, like actually, right now, I think there's a big conversation that's being had behind closed doors with AEW and WWE, where they're going to allow. What I've read the report is AEW will get permissions to WCW footage of Sting leading up to his final match, and WWE will get Dustin for
Dustin
for the lead up to WrestleMania. And I mean, again, to see the two companies, if that is true, the two companies working together, that's awesome. And for a fan,
Yeah.
But
Because they did it in the beginning for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Tony Khan got pissed off when they were trying to poach some of their guys under contract. and that kind of burned a bridge.
That brother's old.
You know, but honestly, what he's done for
He's like 50.
but what
52.
But what he's done for
He's old.
Darby Allin.
It looks the same.
When he moves, I'm like, man. Ow.
It's the same. But yeah, but what Sting's done for Darby Allin's career
Right.
and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
that's
I
true.
mean, it's great.
Oh yeah. Well, and Sting, there's an interesting in
Flares.
30 for 30 for Flair too, and you'll
Sting
understand.
before the face paint.
Yeah, I mean it's really pretty good, and you're like, whoa.
When he was with the Dingo Warrior.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, they did, but again, last thing I saw is when I showed the picture of Friday Night SmackDown, the ending. Like all I could think about was the Nation of Domination.
We are the
All-
nation.
Yeah, we are the nation. When they always had their arms up and like, and that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And then you just saw The Rock with a big old L. Like,
Finger pistol.
yeah.
So yeah, and speaking of Sting, his final match is going to be March 3rd at Revolution.
Mhm.
Tag team title match, him and Darby versus the Young Bucks
As heels.
as heels, as executive VPs, whatever. I could see them where Sting and Darby win and then vacate the titles, create a new tournament.
Do you think?
But-
Do you think The Rock? Do you think WWE is chasing AEW with kind of the boardroom angle, or do you think AEW is chasing WWE with the boardroom angle?
I think they're seeing who the next surprise is.
Okay.
So like we know in March it's going to be Sasha or Mercedes Moné coming to AEW. She'll be
In
one
Boston.
in Boston, Boss
Big
Town.
business.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's like their counter move is okay. What's WWE going to do to counteract that? Well, they already brought back The Rock, so are we going to see Stone Cold come back? Depending on how they do that angle.
I mean, it's gonna be Triple H bringing back all his friends. I mean, it's gonna be bringing back all those draws because again, Vince McMahon did.
Well, I
it
can't bring
first.
back Scott Hall though.
Yeah, I can't do that. CGI, you could do a lot. Man. I mean, they brought back Tupac at Coachella, so I mean, they could do a lot with CGI now.
That's it. Listen, we got to run. This has been another great episode. Let me tell you something, brother. Brought to you through the financial support of Tom's Productions. If you think it, he can ink it. And he'll stick it on anything. And he'll also put your logo on anything.
Money talks. Every man has his
That's
price.
right. Promise here, 21-6.
Sounds like it's like
We'll see you next week, 2 weeks.
You know, I paid
Next
the $3
2
million.
weeks for another great episode. Let me tell you something.